if you can get out there and just let people know, like, you just never know who's looking to sell. You don't know who knows somebody, right?
Hey investors, Bradley here from Watson Estates. You're listening to the largest and fastest growing podcast for Toronto real estate on iTunes, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. If you've been following our show, you probably love real estate and you might also be an investor. If so, today's a good conversation. We love to investigate different avenues of people who are tearing it up in the real estate business. Yeah, we like to track the market and keep you guys up to date with that. That is important, but it's important we stay fresh as well and get to know what people are doing, especially those that are pulling ahead and doing well in their respective aspects of the real estate industry. Today, I had the wonderful opportunity of chatting with both Jonathan and Jefferson Ortiz from Ortiz Property Solutions. These young guys, I saw them start their business a couple of years ago and have been in communication with them along the way. And that's why I'm so excited they have gotten to a point where it makes sense for us. We could no longer wait to have them come on the show, share some of their journey and some of the things, the secrets that have made them successful in the wholesaling business. So whether you're a wholesaler or whether you're an investor that wants to partner with wholesalers, today is an episode where we talk about how to find good off-market deals and really what it takes to be successful in the wholesale industry. I myself am not wholesaling, but we definitely talk to them and work with them on an ongoing basis. So having this conversation today has been inspiring, and it's been an opportunity for us to really see how someone can start from the ground floor of wholesaling and build their business today to having a coaching program, being able to joint venture, go across Canada and into the United States as investors in a matter of a couple of years. A wonderful conversation. If and when you guys love this episode, please share it. You can tag us at Watson Estates. Enjoy the show. John, Jefferson, thank you for joining us on the show. How you guys doing?
We're doing great. We're doing great. How about yourself?
Very good. I've had the wonderful opportunity of watching you guys expand your business as a team. And I'm thrilled that you guys said yes to coming on our show and sharing a little bit about how in the world you can rise above all the heavy competition in the wholesale business and tear it up to a point where you guys are scaling your business today. So for our audience have never maybe heard of your business model and what you guys are doing, tell us a little bit about yourselves. And I'd love to hear your backstory, where you guys came from.
Absolutely. So I'll kind of start it off. So my name is Jefferson, and this is my partner and brother, Jonathan Ortiz. We have a wholesale / flip and now business that we operate in Ontario. However, we have kind of expanded across Canada now. We've actually assigned deals in Saskatchewan and some other provinces. And so basically we have a wholesale flipping business where we find off-market opportunities for investors. And sometimes even just a regular Joe that just wants a property that is not on the market and maybe below market value. So we find opportunities. We then assign the properties over to the end investor, and then we collect an assignment fee, which is the difference of what we get on the contract and what we assign it for. And as we've been doing that for the last started end of 2020 and really scaled up last year. And this year we're now trying to build the right systems, build the right teams in place to try to take this to another level. And but we have kind of moved away from that, not moved away, but we have kind of expanded now into acquiring multifamilies, specifically buildings across Canada, and we're looking into the US as well.
Yeah.
John,
did you want to add to that?
Yeah, we're originally from Hamilton. Our parents are Colombian, but we grew up in Hamilton. I was into the transportation industry, and he was an insurance broker. And we initially got into wholesaling by watching wholesalers in the States, and then we kind of figured that we can do it here, and we got to network and learn a little bit more about the investment community here in Ontario. And we got a coach for our wholesale, and that's how we started scaling our wholesale business. And we did really well within the first year and a half. We did around 200,000 of wholesale fee transactions, and then after that, we were able to pick up some properties of our own, some flips of our own, and now we're scaling into the multifamilies and trying to grow from there.
What's beautiful about where I'm sitting is I remember hearing from you guys early on in the wholesaling business, and just having kind of this two-way conversation with listeners. I love when I hear people are taking actionable steps, and you guys absolutely have. And since then, you guys are tearing it up. And I often will recommend people, if they're interested in off-market deals like myself, to connect themselves, align themselves with wholesalers. That's a good source of leads, even realtors. And I highly encourage. So the company is it Property Solution, Ortiz Property Solutions? What's the official name so our folks can look you guys up for that?
Yeah, so it's Ortiz Property Solutions. Ortiz being our name, and Property Solutions being that our main focus is to help sellers in situations where they're in a specific situation. Maybe they're divorced, maybe they have a health issue. So we solve the problem. So by providing a solution.
Yeah. Yeah, right now in the real estate business, obviously the biggest question mark is supply. Now we're starting to see a bit of supply coming online as a bit of a market update, and we're going to watch that. Interest rates are on the rise, but you guys have been able to accomplish what a lot of people are struggling, even in the real estate industry, to do, which is find listings and then to find them at a significant enough discount through, as you mentioned, offering solutions and helping. And there's a lot of differences, let's say, in the wholesale business than there is in the MLS and realtor side, but you guys are finding them. And so today, very much on the show, I want to ask you, one, how have you seen the wholesale business evolve over the last couple of years as you guys have kind of been growing? And how do you do it? What are some of your secrets for maybe some folks that don't have a lot of capital, but they want to go out and do a lot of things you're doing? And I'd love to be able to share some valuable insight on how to find those deals.
For sure. So I could probably take a little bit of this one. So basically, when it comes to how we've seen it, we have noticed there's been a significant amount of people that have started wholesaling in the last year or so, like comparison to when we started. There was I would say a handful amount of people. Now, we're seeing a lot more people getting into the game, trying different strategies like flyers. Flyers is becoming a very popular and very, I would even say, saturated thing that people are doing, which is send flyers via Canada Post. So that's more or less how we got our first deal, is by doing a flyer marketing campaign. Now, keep in mind, we did it in Hamilton, which at that time wasn't as, I would say, it was still competitive, but it wasn't like it is now. Like I'm hearing folks receive 6, 7, even 10 letters per week. So obviously that strategy is out the door now. So we have seen it that it is a little bit more competitive, but at the same time, because we have the experience of done so many times, we understand what are some key points, what are some things that we can take from a seller, what is their why. Like that's something that I always go back to. It's like, what is the reason that they're looking to sell? Like, are they just looking to test the market, see what they could get for the property, or are they in an actual situation where they need to sell, right? One of the instances that we've seen a lot in the last last couple of months, I would say, is that a lot of folks are looking to go up north, up east, up. They're just moving away from Ontario, right? They want more land. They're just not happy with Ontario, so they're moving out to New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, Alberta. So they're starting to move out of Ontario. So that's something that we have seen a lot. When it comes to any secret, I would honestly say just network as much as you can. Let as many people as you can, or that that you're looking for deals. I would say like 5 or 6 of our deals have actually came from online, just from us putting ourselves on social media, letting people know, letting our circle know that we're looking for deals. And long and behold, someone might have a property and they just don't want to go through the process of going through realtor, listing it, having walkthroughs, right? So then they prefer to just do it privately. So they've actually reached out to us and say, hey, would you, I know you do wholesaling. Would you be able to find a buyer for this property, or more or less, right?
Yeah, it's funny he says that. I had a guy last week who did some work on my car, and I told him what I do. I'm a real estate investor. I am a wholesaler, so we buy properties and we wholesale them. And funny enough, my neighbor was thinking of listing his property, and we actually won yesterday and locked it up under contract. So that will be a new wholesale deal in Hamilton, which they don't come across very often, but as you know, lately in Hamilton, there's been a bit of bidding wars, but it's definitely under market value. So it gives the end buyer a bit of opportunity to get into the market, whether it's a first-time home buyer or just an investor trying to get his second or third property.
And what was interesting is on the same street, there was a bunch of signs. There's a bunch of we buy houses. There was literally on the post, there's three separate posts that said we buy houses. But people will usually go with whoever they recommend, right? So if you can get out there and just let people know, like, you just never know who's looking to sell. You don't know who knows somebody, right? So I would say that's a big one. There's a lot of FSBO websites out there, right? There's a lot of for sale by owners websites out there that you can also find. You just have to filter through all of them and see which one is good and which one isn't. But honestly, just try everything. Like if you hear of a strategy, if you hear of any sort of way to get in front of sellers, just try it. Just try. That's what I would say. Just try everything. We've tried everything from door knocking to vendor signs to like just about everything, like literally everything. So just get out there and network, talk to people. Don't be afraid to tell people that you're looking for property. Even if you don't have the capital to close on these properties, just let people know. Get in front of as many people as you can. That's what I would say.
Yeah, you don't know what deal you may come across, and you know, it could be your first wholesale. Yeah.
So I was going to ask something else, but you touched on a good point there. And I think that can be a roadblock for a lot of folks, especially younger investors that don't have capital behind them. So you say, go out there, find the deals. I know there's very much a philosophy. If you have a deal, money will follow the deal. I'm curious, is that kind of the thinking behind that? Would you have someone lock a contract up firm as you would any wholesaler for someone who doesn't have the capital? Or how do you recommend someone approach that if they're first starting to get in? Is that something that you would, bird dog or pass to another wholesaler? What's kind of your philosophy on that?
That's honestly what I would say. Like the way we got started was with a mentor, and I actually put out his name just if anybody is interested in that mentorship. His name's Irfan Khan, and basically the way it worked with him is that we paid him $15,000 upfront. That was back in December of 2020, and he really put us on what exactly it takes, like how to negotiate, how to put a property contract, what not to put, what to put it, and so on, right? So I would personally say get educated first. You just don't want to go out there and put a property on a contract firm per se. And let's say you didn't know that was actually a firm offer, right? So you don't want to get yourself in that situation. So I would say get educated, whether that's a podcast, whether that's, listening to folks that have done it, just whatever it is, or coaching, whatever it is, just get educated first so that you have the fundamentals, you have the foundation to then be able to try the business, to talk to a seller. You're going to feel a lot more confident, and you're going to know exactly what kind of paperwork is required, like what conditions should you have in there. Like we haven't really locked up a lot of properties firm. However, if we do come across a really good deal, now that we've done it so long and so many times, and we understand the numbers of deals, we understand, like, for example, if we get something in the Niagara region and for 200,000, we know that we can go firm and we can raise the capital, or we could probably come up with the capital somehow, some way. So I feel like once you get more experience, once you've done it a few times, then you'll understand what a good deal is, what a good deal is not, and so on, right? So I would say get educated and definitely talk to a professional, whether it's a lawyer or a realtor, and just to make sure you are getting the right conditions in place, or the right lingo, I would say.
I would also add to that, if you are a licensed salesperson, you got to be careful as far as clauses and conditions. There are realtors that are in the wholesale space, but you just got there's extra due diligence on that. So what I'm hearing, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what I'm hearing is you even now, after doing it for a while, give yourself permission to have conditions built into those offers. You're not coming in necessarily, even as a large wholesaler, saying we're going to buy cash, no condition. That's not really the angle. You guys are assessing them property to property, and majority of time you have an out available to you. Really, the value that you're bringing to yourself, your organization, your investors, is early access, pre-market access to these deals. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's exactly correct. Yeah, we have, like I said, we haven't really gone firm on any offers just right off the top, just because you just never know what could happen, right? Like there's so many things that could happen from when you got on a contract to selling it or keeping the property, that we just like to do our due diligence, right? You don't want to go into there blind, not knowing, there's maybe a foundation issue that you didn't see. Maybe there's, nothing tube that you didn't see. There's just so many factors. So we always like to put at least two to 3 weeks conditional period. And what we explain to the sellers is, hey, we just need to do our due diligence. We need to get a contractor in here. We need to just make sure that we're doing it right. If not, then if we're going to go into this firm, then the price just has to make sense, right?
Right.
And that just comes with knowing the market, doing it so many times that you understand the market. You understand. For instance, let's say we get something in Hamilton for 200. It doesn't, like, we could go firm all day because we know there's nothing even close to that, right? So things like that.
Yeah. So, okay, cool. So what's actually really funny is when we've got stuff on the open market, people go in competition and they're cutting these conditions out. So what I'm hearing as an opportunity for investors thinking about going wholesale is, not only do you have the benefit of not competing and potentially a lower purchase price, but you also have breathing room on the side of condition. So it's actually a bit of a win-win, which is kind of cool. Awesome. Now,
So just to touch on,
Yeah.
that. So I do want to make something clear. So when we get it on the contract, we do have it conditional. However, I would say 9 out of 10 or probably 10 out of 10. When we assign the deal to the investor, it's a firm offer. Now
Yeah.
they are going firm into it because we have a conditional and we can't afford to lock it up conditional because A, somebody else might have gone firm on it, and now we lose on that opportunity. Or B, we just don't want to waste a lot of time. So basically what we tend to do is we'll have it on a contract conditional. Because we have the network and, we have built a good, I would say, a good team. We do have some investors that will buy sight unseen based on the pictures, based on us going to see it. But if not, what we'll do is we'll do a walkthrough. We'll bring, however many investors are interested, we'll bring them on a walk through the property. At that time, they can bring a property, they can bring an inspector, they can bring a contractor, whatever the case may be, do your due diligence then, and then we'll take firm offers the day after.
Got it. So the conditions are based around the property, not so much the financing and the investor is. So tell me how have you guys grown? There's a ton of capital in Ontario. I'm curious, how have you guys, that interaction that you have with investors, how has that grown over, like, what is your relationship with the investors? I mean, I'd assume you have a massive list, of which I'm on that list, but you also would have key buyers, right? That you would have just a phone call to. How does that work? What is that kind of, that side? Has that been hard for you to develop those relationships? Is that still a challenge, or do you find the challenge is really more so on the searching for property side?
I would say that it's not so hard, the network, because we're very social people and we like to interact with as many people as possible. So for us, like talking about deals, we could talk about real estate all day, every day, and we don't get tired of it, right? We literally, we go to family events and me and him are just talking about real estate all day while our family's talking about something, the news or the sports, right? So for us, it's actually, we enjoy networking. We enjoy talking to investors because the way we look at it is, as we continue to grow, these are potential people that we could partner up, right? If everything lines up, right? If our, their values line up, right? We can potentially partner up in the future. And that's something that we did last year. We started partnering up, bringing JVs on to our properties, right? Instead of wholesaling, well, hey, listen, if it's a multifamily, could we possibly flip it? Could we keep it? Could we burn it, right? So I feel like the networking of it is not so hard as much as finding the deal. And especially nowadays, like, I feel like there's just so much competition. Like sometimes what we get is we'll get somebody who wants to sell a property and they're like, oh, you're one of the 5 people that I'm going to call, because they have all the letters and they'll pretty much just like call one by one to see who gives them the best offer, which is just crazy. Like
there's competition. Yeah, I hear that. Well, that's the state of the market. That's why I think it's unbelievable you guys have been able to kind of overcome that. Now you mentioned what I really want to grab here is I want to try and grab some golden nuggets, some insight that kind of has propelled you guys ahead of everyone else. But I'm also curious, you said flyers are overdone, and I agree they're overdone. I'm curious, is that your primary source of leads? Do they still work? Is that why it's overdone? Or have you guys found new creative ways to get in front of sellers?
I would say new creative ways. Do the flyers work? I would say the flyers do still work. Because what usually happens is sometimes the seller has to see the flyer X amount of times before they call. So let's say they've received 4 flyers and you're just happen to be the 5th one that they've received. They might call you and be like, hey, you've left all these flyers here. What is this about? I want to know. And then you might be that lucky number 5th that just happens to be the number, right? So they do still work. What I would say just depends on the market, right? I think every market is a little bit different. Some markets are more saturated than others. We primarily focus on the Niagara region market. That was where our main focus was when we started. But that's what we've seen, that everybody has gone through the Niagara region. Like Niagara region is now, I would say, close to where Hamilton is now, right? Like there's just so much eyes in the Niagara region. Everybody wants a deal. Everybody wants a piece of Niagara region. So what we started doing is we just started looking outside of the Niagara region. Places like Timmins, places like Kirkland Lake, places that are where the numbers still make sense, right? Where the 1% still makes sense, the price per unit still makes sense, the fundamentals still make sense as an investor, right? So we started looking outside of there, as well as, we started looking at Saskatchewan, we started looking at New Brunswick, more for multis, like big multis. So, and we've honestly just started getting creative. So we've now built a team. Yeah. So basically the way we got right now is we got a team of wholesalers that we're training. And they're under our wing and they're going out there, they're talking to the sellers. We've trained them to the point where exactly what we would do, right? And so they're going out there, they're hunting deals, they're looking for deals. They'll bring it on. They'll be like, what do you think about this? We'll get comparables, we'll get all the data, and then we'll put it on a contract and start shopping. So that's been, we just implemented that this year, and we've seen massive success with it, just because you're just multiplying yourself in 5 or 6 or 7 people.
Yeah, it takes a bit of time off our hands, and it gives us a chance to focus more on underwriting buildings up east or up west, and it gives us just a chance to be more focused on the operations and the networking with investors while they're locking up deals, and then we do most of the disposition and getting investors some sweet off market deals.
Right on. Yeah, I remember middle of last year on our podcast, we had a couple of the fellows over from Rise came over, and I remember saying to Mayu, dude, I'm going to call it right now. You're going to see wholesalers getting a cut of equity. And a big part of that is as you grow, as these wholesalers are up and coming, the value in real estate is in the whole. It's in that appreciation, as we've seen, and it's going to continue to be that way. It's nice to have a wholesale fee, but when you have access to deals, you're crazy to let a lot of them go. So it's a very natural progression that I see you guys doing. And I think it's one that wholesalers across the province are doing. And I think that's the place to be. I think the ultimately getting a deal is a good thing. I think that seems to be the hardest thing right now for a lot of people, but long-term, the person that got $10,000, $20,000, even $50,000 off the price isn't the one that's going to hold the most wealth. It's going to be the people that are able to build that portfolio. But it's wonderful to see you guys grow. And I love the adversity. I love the business mindset, and just your game plan is to scale. You're very much entrepreneurial first, and it just so happens to be the real estate business, and you're wonderful networkers as well, I can add. So tell me, how have you guys been building this team? I know you got a lot of opportunities and ways that you can interact with maybe some of our listeners. I'm curious, where do you go from here? Where does a wholesaler who has a steady stream of deals, has people that, that are around them, introducing them to this, they have partners, what does that look like for you guys? I'm very much curious in that growth.
I'm not quite sure if I understood the question. Do you understand the question? I don't know if
Me neither.
No worries.
Yeah,
I'm just curious. I'm curious what's next. What's next for you guys in your business?
Gotcha. Okay, perfect. That's okay. So basically where we are right now, so just to go back to last year, all of last year, I was actually still working my 9 to 5 while growing the company, and John is still in his 9 to 5. So while we're growing this company, we still had a 9 to 5. I've recently quit my 9 to 5 beginning of last month, so February. I was an insurance broker.
Congrats.
Thank you so much. So I've had enough of all this stuff, because it was too much, right? At that point, I had my wholesale business, I had my insurance business, and it was just getting too much. So I've now quit that job, and I've gone all into growing this business. So our main focus, and we have it written down as our goals, our main focus for this year is to make $1 million from both wholesale, as well as we've now gone into flipping a bit now, because the market is just so crazy that if you get a good deal, sometimes it just makes sense just to close on it, put some lipstick on it, and just put it back on the market, just because it's just insane right now, right? So we've gone a little bit more into the flipping. So our goal is for this year is to make $1 million from both wholesaling and flipping combined together. And then that will be like our active income. But then as we continue to scale and as we continue to grow, our goal is to get to 4,000 units, apartment building specifically, across Canada and the US within the next 6 to 7 years is kind of our I would say a long-term goal. And that's kind of where we're heading towards in terms of the wealth, exactly like you mentioned, right? Wholesale is great. Don't get me wrong, it's super great. It makes you great money, but it's more of that active income. But we're looking to build that passive income. And we specifically just love the apartment building space just because of everything that it has to do with it. It's just a business. It's just like a business, right? So I like that it's operated as a business as opposed to looking at comparables, because the comparables are based on emotions at the end of the day, right? It's whatever somebody's willing to pay for that property. Whereas with the buildings, you're buying a business and you're operating a business and you're, increasing the NOI, lowering the expenses. So it very much is like a business. So that's what we like about it. We want to scale to the US. I think that's kind of our next kind of goal is to scale to the US, just because the inventory here is just very limited. And for what we're looking for, if we're going to get to 4,000 units, we got to be buying 100 units at a time and there's just nothing out there that is 100 units, at least not where we are. So that's what we're looking into the US, Texas, Florida, Arizona, and then we got some family out in Charlotte and in the Carolinas. So I think that's kind of where we're heading as the US, and apartment buildings more or less there.
Cool. Yeah, I've had a number of guests. I'm actually going on a show talking to an individual who specializes in Canadian investors investing in the US. It's a big push right now. So I'll tell you what, when you get a good deal apartments out in Niagara region, you know who to give a nice little shout to, because I still think it's a wonderful opportunity, Ontario. But I love to watch folks like yourselves, you know, starting from wholesale, which if I were to categorize what is the hardest part of real estate, I would put wholesale as the bottom. And you guys have truly built yourself up an amazing network. You've continued to grow. And from what I hear, you're also teaching others. Tell me a little bit about your course and what that looks like.
Yeah, so basically last year we started noticing that there was a lot of people reaching out to us. They wanted to start into wholesale. They wanted to get in at this time, and at that time we just didn't have the time to full out do a mentorship program. So what we started doing, and the way we wanted to provide value to the masses, right, and to really just let people know how to do the business. Because when we started, you know, you have a lot of things in the States, you have a lot of things about programs, coaching and stuff like that. But there wasn't any specific program, like a program where you can sign up and you can learn and you go out and you know, you watch the videos or you listen to the modules. There was nothing like that. So we've seen that there was a little bit of a hole for something like that. There's mentors, but those mentors are going to cost you anywhere from, I would say, $15,000 to $20,000. And a lot of people just don't have that money. I mean, we didn't have that money. We had to use a line of credit, but we needed to get in the game. But I'm saying for the most people, it's a lot of money up front. So we've seen that there was a hole in the, I would say what? In the market, right? There wasn't anything like that. So what we did is we created a program that teaches you how to do wholesaling from start to finish. We go through starting in the mindset, because obviously if you don't have the right mindset, you're not going to be able to be successful when you come across adversity. So starting from the mindset all the way up to how to get rid of the deal, how to sell the deal, how to fill a contract. Again, we're not financial advisors, so do seek advice from your lawyer, but we do include that in there. How to do marketing, right? Anything else you want to?
Yeah, no, it's a great course. It's 7 modules, and like you said, it includes everything from marketing, disposition, acquisition, and it's a great active, passive skill as an investor to have. Because I know there's investors in this industry who have, you know, 4 or 5 properties, but they don't know how to wholesale, right? So we've actually got some new students who are you know, real estate investors, and they've purchased the course, and you know, now they have that active skill to be able to learn how to wholesale or acquire that as a skill in the future, because it's as an investor, it's good to have, it's a good skill to have to learn how to wholesale, so that when you're learning how to search for deals and you're getting them under contract, whether that's going to be something you negotiate to keep for your portfolio, or it's going to be something that you'll be able to pass on to a different investor so that they keep on growing their portfolio, right? Most of our off-market deals are under market value, and in that course we teach everything on how to negotiate, how to analyze the deal, what's in the contract, different clauses that you're going to have at different times. So it's a great course overall, and it teaches you, you know, how to get your first wholesale deal, and from there it's just repetition and networking.
Yeah, and actually one of our students that went through the course, he's already this month alone, or between this year alone, he's already done 3 deals, just going through the modules, which we're just excited to see that, right? We're, like I said, it's $1,000 course, but we don't care much about the money. It's more to provide value and just to get our name out there and let people know, like, this is possible. You know, we're two people that came from Colombia with nothing, right? Like we're immigrants to this country, blessed enough to be here. And, you know, we didn't grow up we didn't grow up rich, right? We grew up single mom with 4 kids, right? And, you know, we've seen the struggle, we've seen what it is. And like being able to know how to do wholesale has changed our life and the trajectory of our life as well, right? Because what's really cool about wholesaling or just finding off market opportunities in general is that you have all these leads, you know how to analyze, you know how to get deals. Now you can take them through the channel and, like, do you want to flip it? Do you want to wholesale it? Or do you want to bring investors in that want to bring the capital? That's something that, as we started, when we first started, we thought, how do you get somebody to give you X amount of money? It seemed like, you know, why would somebody give you that to keep 50%? it seemed like, you know, it didn't make any sense. But now as we've grown and as we've done JVs, it's just a perfect match, right? I get the deal and I got the people to do the rentals. You got the money and the mortgage qualification. Why don't we integrate the two? So that's just kind of something that's great, is that you actually have the options. You just take it to the channel and you put, you know, you do what you want with it. Pretty much, you have the choice. Another thing is that John recently got his mortgage license. So that's another aspect of the business that we wanted to control, right? Is when we have a deal, okay, who's funding the deal? Your mortgage broker. Does he know investing? Does he know wholesale? Does he know VTVs? No. Okay, maybe we want to get our hands on that so that we can make sure the transaction goes from, you know, where it needs to be to the finish line. And so John got his mortgage license and he's working with
Synergy Mortgage Group. So I'm working alongside Josh Burris, and he's been a great mentor so far. And it's going to take a bit of time to grow that as we, you know, actively do our wholesaling and investing. But, you know, it's good to have that under my belt, you know, just to teach new investors, you know, how to get their second property. I can, you know, help them out. So I'm also in the mortgage as well.
Yeah. Very good stuff, guys. And it's, I hope our audience has seen a little glimpse of what I've seen. Your business mindset. You guys are continuously growing. You obviously have a pretty strong powerhouse team where you guys are able to complement one another. And I couldn't agree more. Whether that's your course or coaching program, people have to educate themselves, even if they're in the industry. I know there's a lot of pressures that happen in the real estate business, but I anticipate you'll see pressures like that in the wholesale business too. So as it's an ever-changing environment, as the average Canadian is obsessed with real estate, there's going to be rules that need to follow, and you need to make sure you protect yourself. But I think you guys clearly have done an exceptional job as you've grown. So congratulations to you. But I really appreciate you taking a few minutes of your time to come on, chat with us, and hopefully motivate and inspire people around to find their niche, wholesaling being one avenue. There's clearly a lot of options. You guys are diversifying into some of them today. But if I were to leave, I guess, with one more kind of statement or comment, what would be something, if you were to go all the way back and restart that, let's say one thing that you would improve and one thing that I guess, let's look at it both sides. So something you would have added if you could go back to fast track that journey, and something that you wish you didn't do that might have delayed it as well.
Interesting question. I would probably say not taking action earlier. You know, a lot of times we want to know everything that takes to do the business. You know, you want to know exactly how to do it. So at the same time, although it's important that you get educated, I would say one of the most important things is to take action, right? It's kind of one of those, I don't know what the saying is, but it's like you're driving the car and you can't see, you can only see a few steps ahead of you, and you're just driving through. And as you go, you'll figure it out, right? So you're not going to know everything, but just take action, right? Don't be afraid to, for instance, right? If you know how to write a contract, don't be afraid to make an offer, right? As long as it's conditional. Like a lot of people want to know the numbers, they want to know everything before they put an offer in. Like we're putting offers left and right, left and right, left and right, because it's just conditional, right? You can always negotiate, you can always, you know, work with the seller, you can always back out. So obviously that's not the goal. The goal is to always close on the properties, but don't be afraid to put offers. If you don't put offers, you're never going to get deals. And that's something that I would say we've learned, and we wish we would have known earlier, because we would have been putting offers left and right, you know, not without thinking about it, but just like more offers, right? So I would say the more offers, the more deals, the more opportunities. What we do now is we run the numbers. Do the numbers make sense? Okay, let's put an offer on that price. Sometimes it's way below what they're asking, but sometimes you just got to educate people and explain to them how you're coming up with that price. It's not you're just making up the price.
Yeah, for me, I would say just you know, start networking early with people as much as you can. Listen to as many as podcasts as you can, because they're all so educational and there's so many out there. And with everybody being so busy nowadays, you know, you can get caught in the life. But I think if you time manage and you're able to educate yourself and network, you know, you're able to build great relationships. You know, we've built great relationships with investors. They're now our close friends. You know, reading books and just, you know, letting people know that you're in the real estate while building great relationships along the way.
And then document your journey in social media. That would be a huge.
Yeah, that's definitely even something I'm even slacking in that I can improve on, you know, but being so busy running left and right, that's something that we definitely want to improve on more. But there's always so much going on, so much you can improve on. I just got to take it one step at a time and keep on going forward.
So one last time, Jonathan, Jefferson, where can people find you and follow your journey as you guys are going to start throwing up a bunch of content for us?
Yeah, well, I have my personal Instagram, Jefferson Ortiz, Jefferson_Ortiz, and
yeah, it's pretty much the same one. So mine's John.Ortiz/VA on Instagram, and you can find me on Facebook as well. His is the same one. It's Jefferson Ortiz_VA. You can find us on Instagram. We'll be posting some new content on YouTube. But we're mostly active on Facebook, Instagram,
TikTok.
We'll be doing a little bit of TikTok. We just did some filming last week for our flip and welling on our duplex, and we recorded some of that process. So that should be coming up in the next couple of weeks as we continue to grow.
Yeah, and don't hesitate to reach out to us if you guys have any questions. Like, our main focus is to provide value. You know, we understand that that's the game, is provide value and expect nothing in return, right? That's kind of our main focus, just provide value and share the journey, right? Like, hopefully inspire people that are looking to get started, that don't have a lot of capital. Like, you know, we're just looking to show people that it is possible if you take massive action and surround yourself with the right people.
I think a lot of people these days, as I get a lay of the land, are feeling like they'll never get into the real estate market. I think what you guys are doing is one option. And so I thank you again for taking time to come and join us. And I would kind of mirror that and say, guys, leave a comment if you have anything for myself or the Ortiz brothers, and make sure you follow and support them. You can share this episode is one way to do that. And you can also tag us at Watson Estates. Jonathan, Jefferson, thanks again for taking the time, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, Bradley.
Thank you so much. Take care.